Namaste. Now it's time for the sequence of the SURYA NAMASKAR, the sun salutation. Two things I want you to keep in mind as you're doing this, because I could go over point by point by point how you should be in this position and that position, tilt this pelvis, do that. I'm not going to do that. What I want you to understand is that in every single position that you're in, whatever is touching the floor, feel it, ground yourself to it. You can even push against it a little bit. So even as I stand here right now, if I push against the floor, immediately what that does is that locks my lower body. Puts me in a position where I'm standing up nice and tall. Wherever you are, and again, it doesn't have to be a strong position, because again, we want to approach this practice with gratitude, with a thankfulness. All of the attributes that will come with it, the flexibility, the strength, the balance, the mental clarity, all of that, those are byproducts of what we're doing by showing our gratitude. This is what the sun will give back to us during these particular movements, this sequence, this cycle. But keep in mind, whatever is touching the floor, push. If you push, you'll become grounded. If you become grounded, much like any plant that has to grow, it only grows towards the sun for the roots. The roots are growing down, the stems are coming up. So we have these opposing things going on. So keep that in mind as you're doing this, okay? Gratitude, whatever is touching, make it touch firmly, or at the very least, draw your attention to where you are and you can feel your feet. So the first part of this, as we come, I'm going to do this on the side so you can see me, is we stand with our hands by our side. And again, we're grounding our feet. From here, we take our hands and we bring them in front of us into prayer pose. Keep your fingers together. Let your thumbs touch the center of your chest. So you'll be lifting up high, your chest high, your chin high, shoulders relaxed. From here, we go into an upward salute, where we now bring our arms upwards. And then from here, you can very slightly bend backwards. It doesn't have to be a very big back bend. I've seen people pretty much go parallel with the floor. Unnecessary. If you can do that, you have that sort of flexibility, fantastic. It's not necessary. Again, what's more important is lifting your chest. Lifting your chest, and imagine that the sun's rays are just shining over you. This is a better approach, because from here, you'll feel what you're doing, which is showing your gratefulness, your thankfulness. You're like, it's like you score a touchdown. You're like, hey, what do you normally do? It's a victory. And this is a victory pose. This pose comes to a point where like, oh my God, this is great. From here, we then show our reverence by bending downwards. So from here, we bend forward. So we bend from the hips. Once again, we're pushing with our feet. So what's still on the floor? Our feet. So we're pushing down with our feet as we come down. And as we try to keep our arms straight as we come down, great. If you can allow this part of your arm to come forward, fantastic, as you reach down. Now your hands, they start to join in a line. So you want the toes and the fingertips to be in an alignment with one another. Not out here and not way back here, but in an alignment with one another. If you can't touch the ground, then you do what you need to. You bend the knees. Whatever is necessary for you to be comfortable, you do that. Again, this is now a reverence pose. This is a bowing. We're showing our gratitude. If you can put your hands flat, great. If you can straighten out your legs, great. It doesn't matter what you can do. Again, approach this with reverence. And again, now what's touching? Feet are touching. What else is touching? Hands. So if they're touching, guess what? You can gently push. Even if that's fingertips, right? You can gently push. If you push, you'll notice that what happens with your pelvis is your pelvis starts to come up naturally, just by pushing. From here, what we do is we take our right leg and we kick it back. So we kick it back into this position so that our toes are up. And then we're going to drop the knee. We're going to flatten out our foot so the top of the foot is down. Our hands are still down. And from here, once again, now we're pushing down with the top of our foot, our hands, our front foot, gently with our knee. And then we're going to lift upwards. So we take our chest and we lift up. And we can either look forward or you can slightly gaze to where the sun would be. in this position. So if you need to be on your fingertips to do that, if you can be on your palms to do that. But again, keep in mind that you're pushing with everything. From here, we're going to take that low lunge. We're going to curl our toes back under. We're going to meet our right leg with our left. So we're going to come into a plank position. So we bring our left leg back. Now we're on both toes. And then we're going to lower that plank so that we're in a nice plank position. So there's no emphasis on this or this. We're in a very neutral position with the plank, holding it very nicely. From here, we're going to lower our knees, and then we're going to lower and keep your toes curled like I am. Keep them on the toes. From here, you're going to touch your chest and your chin to the floor, keeping your elbows very close to your side as you come down. So you'll come down with your elbows very close to the side, and you'll touch your chin and your chest. Keeping your buttocks, as you can see, up off the floor. Again, the buttocks does not have to be very high up off the floor, just not touching. From here, we're now going to come into Cobra. We're going to flatten out our feet, once again, keeping our elbows nice and tight by our sides. We're going to just lift upwards. Now, what's important here, keep the feet together, keep the heels together. And again, what's touching the ground now? Our entire lower body, right? Our hands just a little bit we want to use. Most of this comes from using the strength of our lower body to lift ourselves up. You should be able to, no matter what position you're in, lift your hands. If you can lift your hands, then you're using the strength of your lower body and your spine and not your arms. We're not trying to get into up dog. We're in Cobra. So once again, get into a position that doesn't have to be very high. It doesn't matter where you are. Keeping the elbows tucked by your side, lifting your chest, and you just look forward. Or again, slightly upwards. From this position, we then curl our toes under before we come into down dog. From this position, we raise up into down dog. So we come up. And again, my feet are together. If you cannot keep your heels on the ground, if you have to be up on your toes, this is fine. But keep your heels and feet together. Again, what's touching the ground? Our hands, our feet. So what are we going to do? We're going to put pressure on them both. What that'll do again automatically is it'll start to lift up your pelvis. So again, where you are in this position doesn't matter. But you're trying to just get into a comfortable position. From here, we're going to step the right leg forward. So that is, once again, in an alignment with our toes and our fingers. So we're going to step it there. Now we're setting down our left knee, putting it flat down on the floor. Once again, raising up. So we're lifting our chest. We can gently look at where the sun would be and gaze forward as we're pressing down. From here, we lift up, match up, same alignment, toes, fingertips touching. We once again bend forward. If you have to bend, bend. Fingertips, that's fine. But push, feel, contact. Feel what the ground's doing for you. From here, we bend our head. And then you can bend your knees or come straight up. I actually like to bend the knees a little bit and come up so that we're coming up in this position and we're growing. And once again, we're arching backwards by lifting your chest. Think of more of this as a lifting of your chest than it is a back bend. Your arm, try to get it to stretch from the arm socket, from the armpit. If you can get that to kind of stretch, this will start to open up that lat muscle on the side of us so that we can continue to get this to go further and further back. So as we're coming back, again, we're lifting the chest. Our feet are grounded. You should not feel any discomfort in your lower back. If you're feeling any discomfort whatsoever or any pressure, you're arching your lower back too much. Ground more. Lifting. From here, we lower the hands back down into Namaskar. And then from here, back down to the side. That's one side. Now we do this to the other side. I'm going to go a little faster so you can see this. Sequence is the same. We're just doing it in reverse. So from here, it's this. Reverence forward, coming down. This time, instead of our right leg going back, we take our left leg back first. So we bring that back. We lift up, flatten out the foot, push. Meet them together. Come into plank, knees, chin, chest, cobra, down dog. Low lunge by bringing the left leg forward this time. And again, getting that in alignment with the toes and the fingers. Flatten out again. Once again, lift up, look forward. Flatten out, join up. Fold forward. Rise up. Back to Namaskar. That's one round. One round of doing that. So the idea is that we want to do that 12 times. Takes about 20 minutes or so at the pace we're going to do it at. The pace that we're going to do it at will help with more of a overall conditioning of the body for both strength and flexibility, because we're going to be using a breath technique as well, which I'll explain in the next video. It'll give you the control over this sequence instead of it being just a workout. Look forward to the next video. Namaste.